Hey, I'm Daniel Seriff, and today I'm going to give you a quick tour of my studio over here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Hey, I'm Daniel Seriff. On this channel, every week I'm sharing with you the things that I've learned over the last 15 years as a professional guitarist and teacher, and sharing them with you, the intermediate guitarist, so that you can learn everything you need to know in order to improve. So if you're new to this channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, ding that bell so you know every time I upload a new video, and please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. So today is the studio tour of my Winston-Salem, North Carolina studio, and the news is I'm moving. So I wanted to shoot this video and share with you the studio that I've been in for, most of the last 4.5 years. So let's go ahead, let's dig into the gear. I'll show you how I use it, my setup and everything, and hope you enjoy. Okay, so just before we start the tour, I wanted to make sure that you knew that, well, the studio's in a little bit of a transition right now. I'm moving to Asheville, North Carolina, and I actually have my house under contract right now. Anyway, things are kind of shifting a little bit, so it's not really in the same, order or way that it would normally be. But I thought that, since I've been here, it's going on about 4.5 years, I wanted to give a studio tour and kind of show you guys kind of like how I work and the way that I do stuff and kind of some of the ideas. So let's just jump in and I'll show you a few different things. Alright, so any of the stuff that you guys are into and you want to, know more about, I'm happy to make a video about anything. But this is my newest gigging board that I got from Alex Thornton over at Tone Heaven Audio. He's in Charlotte, North Carolina. He does amazing work and he's done a lot of my pedal boards over time. So this is my gig board. When gigs start up again, this is what I'll use. Just real quick going through it. Got standard black polytune going into the Raft Mirage Pico, and this one Montez wired for me specifically. It's got the bigger circuit in there, and then that goes into the Benson preamp, which then goes into the Vamirum Janray, into the Origin Effects Compact Revival Drive. I love that thing, so good. That has a little lag when you turn it on. So basically I have it running through a little effects loop right here, and I can click this down here to turn that on and off. Then the Vertex Boost, which I use in conjunction with my volume pedal. So I use that Vertex Boost in conjunction with my volume pedal, which actually isn't on the board. I leave that off. The amazing thing about that clean boost, is my favorite clean boost on the market, is that you can use a volume pedal as an expression pedal, which I really love. Then a newer pedal to me is this Wampler Terraform. It's small, it has great modulation effects, and I'm really enjoying that. And then that goes into my favorite delay, which is the Strymon Volante. Really enjoying that pedal. I've actually got two of them. I got one on the studio board as well. And then a long-standing pedal on my pedal board is the Strymon Flint. I absolutely love it. It gives you that Fender reverb and tremolo kind of sound, and plus, a few extras. It's got that neat harmonic tremolo. If you can see under there, ooh, hello, I have the Goodwood Audition, and then I also have the Output TX, so it allows me to do some different things in regards to routing. And then I do like this Strymon power supply. Had a bad experience with the Ojai, but I really like that one. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, yeah, so that's the gigging pedal board, so to speak. So the studio wasn't always a studio. When I bought this house back in 2016, this was actually a patio right here, and then where all the studio gear over there was kind of a dilapidated screen and porch. I'll show you pictures of that. I had this wonderful friend named Andrew Viator, who owns a great construction company called Viator Construction and Design, and he came in and he helped me make this space into exactly what I had dreamed. For years and years, I've taught in basements and worked out of basements with no light. So a huge thing to me was making sure we had huge windows and just, have curtains, yes, to cover them up when it's time to make something sound, isolated and, not ringy or pingy in the room, But just wanted these big windows so I could look back into the yard. I could have, you know, some sunlight and not feel like I was a space alien all the time, just living in the dark or whatever. So anyway, Andrew did a wonderful job, and this has just been such an amazing space to work in over the years. All right, so a big thing that I needed and wanted was a space that I could house all my guitars, right? So Andrew installed all these awesome guitar hangers. I try to keep, you know, the room with the mini split, I'm able to keep it at kind of a reasonable temperature, and I try to make sure that the humidity is good and everything, because I like to leave my guitars out. This is a DGT that I don't own. My friend David has let me check it out. This is a great hollow body 2 that I got, I guess it was about 2 years ago. That's a fantastic guitar. I put some Lawlers in it and it sounds really great. All right, so here we have some acoustics hanging over here. This is my friend's Tom Henry's Gibson that he let me check out. Really great guitar. Got to return it to him before I moved to Asheville. And then this is a really awesome little Eastman that I bought. I mean, this thing was like $330. I picked it up at Midwood Guitar Studio and was just like, whoa, that thing sounds so good. Ended up buying it just on a whim. It's a great travel guitar, but it actually sounds really good. Again, any of this stuff that you want to hear, go ahead and post a comment below. I'd love to do a little demo of it for you. Yeah, so the Epiphone that's hanging right there, my ex-girlfriend's dad found it in a dumpster. Not really worth talking much about, but it does look pretty nice on the wall over there. Yeah, so we should probably go ahead and dig into the really fun stuff. So this is kind of like the studio corner. You know, if I'm doing mixing or something like that, I'll put some gobos so I can just tighten up the room. But you know, I have 3 bass traps above me. I've got a tri-trap from GIK Acoustics in the corner. I got bass traps everywhere. I've got, you know, sometimes cover up the windows with the curtains, you know, so it's a flexible space, which I really enjoy. So I don't want to make this video too long, but I want to talk about, you know, some of the stuff and some of my process and kind of my approach. So I recently got this desk when I moved back from New Orleans. It's one of the producer, like, I think it's made by Onstage, but it's a producer desk. I bought it from Musician's Friend, really good deal. The desk has been great. I have 3 monitors so that I can put, you know, Pro Tools on 2 screens, and then if I'm teaching lessons, I'll have a person on the middle screen, and I'll have lesson notes or Ableton on another screen so that I can build tracks for my students and such. That stuff works really, really well. Also, I have now, it's been kind of a recent change, but I took all my amps and I put them closer to me where I sit. I'll show you those in a minute, but you know, basically I can now, you know, change controls, use the aux box, you know, turn on and off the speaker. It works really well. All right, so I thought that I would get behind the camera here for a second, and I thought that I could just walk you through a little better. This is a new studio pedal board that I had put together again by Alex Thornton at Tone Heaven Audio. We've got the Cali 76 compressor. That's first in the chain. That then goes into the Pitchfork by Electro Harmonics. Then we've got the Octaland by Kingtone, the Greer Lightspeed, the Mjolnir, sorry, I'm so bad at that name. That's by Mythos Pedals. Zach is very cool. The Nordland ODRC, that's absolutely my most favorite ODR style pedal. The XTS modeled Boss EQ, right, the modified one. And then yes, we have the Chase Bliss Benson, the MK2, the preamp MK2. Then the big Origin FX Revival Drive, and again a Vertex boost. And down below by my feet when I sit, I can actually control the volume. So it's kind of a dream for me to have a wet, dry, wet setup for the studio. I think it's really nice, and a big mentor of mine named Brian Seeger recently made me just aware of the fact that when you bake in reverb and delay effects, sometimes it can be really challenging in editing. And so it's great if you could record a dry signal as well as your wet. And you can keep the wet, or you could use software plugins later. And so I've been doing a wet, dry, wet setup for a little while now. I'll talk through that in one second. But this pedal board, we have the tuner up top. We have that Strymon Ojai that Alex Thornton rescued for me. It still works pretty nicely. The Synesthesia for modulation, Specular Tempest GFI systems, their stuff is so good. We got a Volante, that's CXM 1978, and the Strymon Big Sky. And you know what? I know this pedal board is so excessive, but that's what I wanted. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how I'm running the amps. Okay, so I'll talk to you about guitars in a moment, but I have a few different amps here. I'm checking out this really amazing Matchless. Oh my gosh, that thing sounds really cool. And then I would say my definite most favorite amp of all time is this Two-Rock Traditional Clean. It's just this huge, big body, clean platform, and it just sounds so good, and it works so well for what I like to do, which is mainly, I like to use pedals for my drive for the most part. I'm learning more, the Matchless, actually, checking this amp out has been really cool because it dirties up a lot earlier. But I really love to have super clean when I can have it, and the compression, the natural compression that's inside the Two-Rock, it just sounds so wonderful. Again, if you want to hear any of this stuff, leave a comment below, please, that'd be awesome. So anyway, those amps are there, and then you can check out right here, I've got a Fender Bassman, and then right below that is a Fender Princeton. Now, the Two-Rock's obviously new, and the Matchless too, but the Bassman, even though it's a brown amp, I had my friend Ken Jones put in this because I have a matching cab for it. It's actually a 65, and it was modded by a man named Whit Pitcher, who did a wonderful job, where I got a mid knob on it now on the back side, and then also the normal channel is kind of cleaner, and then the bass side has been modified into basically a Marshall, and it just sounds so killer. I absolutely love that amp too. And then the Fender Princeton below it, Princeton Reverb, is a 1968 Drip Edge. And if you're familiar with that, or if you aren't familiar with that, the Drip Edge is basically a 1967, which means it's a blackface, but it's a lot cheaper. So my roommate is a very big amp collector. He's a great player, but he has collected amps over the years. And at one point, gosh, we had like 30 really fantastic amps in this house. And he's been really helpful to me in order to just like learn about the different amp sounds and tones and like vintage versus modern, all that stuff over the last few years. He's been awesome. A few years ago when I first moved in, I made an amp ISO box, and I'll show you pictures of that. But basically, this ISO box was under the stairs, under the house, basically like 20 feet that way, all right? And it was cool, except I definitely disturbed roommates, or if I had a girlfriend that was around and I was doing a session or something, it got pretty loud. And then the aux box came out, and I swear the aux box for me is absolutely the best piece of equipment I've bought in probably 10 years. I mean, it really changed the game for me. When I moved to New Orleans, I was able to still keep doing sessions and lessons and make recordings insanely easily with just that thing. Because it takes any amp, even a 100-watt beast like the Two-Rock, and, the Two-Rock sounds good at any volumes, to be honest, but, if I wanted to crank it and get some, like, real oomph out of it, I can do that, and the aux box can handle it. I can turn the speaker off entirely and record with it, and it just, it sounds killer, honestly. Any of the stuff that you've heard on my YouTube channel, or, like, my Facebook or Instagram, those places, it's typically recorded with the aux box, and it just sounds so amazing. So I took apart the isolation cab that's over, in the other room. Now it's just storage because I think the aux box sounds amazing. I still have really nice microphones in case I do want to like mic up a cab, because I think there is something special about that, just, depending upon the occasion for sure. So I still have that ability. But now I'm running basically, whatever amp I choose, I'll run it into the aux box, right? So basically it's gonna go guitar into the dry side of the pedal board, which I showed you a little bit ago. And then that's gonna go into the front of the amplifier, okay, whatever amp I might choose. Then the amplifier goes to the aux box, and the aux box has stereo outputs. So what I do is I go ahead and send one of those outputs with a DI. I think that's been a recent endeavor, as I bought these nice DIs, and the reason is I found that the outputs of the aux box had the tendency to be noisy. XLRs would have been a better choice, but I just don't think that they could have fit them on it because it's so small, So anyway, the dry signal goes to the DI, the mono DI, and then that goes into the front of my tube preamp. My tube preamp, I'll show you, but basically is a Universal Audio 710D. Really wonderful. It's 4 channels. It sounds very good. That goes into my Universal Audio Apollo, which I also like. It's an older unit. It's the rack mount version, but honestly, it sounds fantastic still. I really like it. So anyway, the dry signal goes in one channel. Then the other side of the aux box sends to the wet side of my pedal board. Okay? And I go stereo through all the pedals in the pedal board. And then I come out of the big sky, go into a stereo DI, and send 2 more channels into the tube pre. So I end up effectively, if I pan it, I can have wet, dry, wet, right? So a wet panned far left, a dry down the center, and a wet panned far right. And it sounds glorious. I will make sure that there is a sample of that in this video so you can check it out. Alright, so I've had to record this video in a bunch of different chunks, so if the video looks different in all these different shots, I'm sorry, but it's just the way life is right now since I'm trying to sell my house, buy a house, move, all that stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into some different guitars. I want to share with you some of my guitars that I play every day and just absolutely love. Alright, so this guitar right here, this is a Novo Cirrus T made by Dennis Fano and company, Matthew Timmons, Devin, all the good people at Novo. This is made in Nashville, and I stumbled upon this guitar in 2017, November of 2017. I fell in love with it and I had to go home with it. I played it at Midwood Guitar Studio in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it just blew my mind. At the time, it had Lollertrons in it. I've since changed these to Tom Brantley pickups. This is a P90 in humbucker space, and this is a Broadcaster pickup, single coil in the bridge there. It's a 3-way switch, and it has Emerson pots, you know, classic telly bridge, so it can do the telly things, but it's a really kind of like amped up, amazing sounding telly. There's a really long video of me playing it when I first got it through like a 1965 Fender Deluxe in my kitchen upstairs. You can check that out on the channel if you're interested. Anyway, I absolutely love this guitar. It's fantastic. Here's a fun one. I actually don't own this guitar yet. I'm borrowing it from one of my guitar students. He's interested in selling it with the house and everything. I can't quite justify it right now. I might get it though. It is a PRS DGT, fantastic guitar. This thing is stock, beautiful gold top. You know, PRS makes really wonderful instruments. This guitar is super cool, and if I can, I'll get it. If you don't know, the DGT comes with 2 volumes. This is actually the bridge volume. This is the neck volume. A tone, and the tone has a push-pull, and then a 3-way switch. It's an incredibly versatile guitar. I've really been enjoying it. Up next is a PRS Hollow Body 2. I bought this guitar from my friend Colby. He was settling an estate, and so I got an incredible deal on it. I've since replaced the stock PRS pickups with Lawler Imperials. I love the Lawler Imperials. I think they're awesome. And as you can tell, this guitar is just fantastic. It's not a 10 top, but man, it sounds great. 3-way switch, volume knob, tone knob, and then this is like the piezo blend. Right now, actually the piezo is broken, so I've actually never even used it. But it has the dual outputs. I just use it kind of like, you know, I would a normal hollow body since the piezo doesn't currently work. I'm gonna get that fixed, but I'm not in a super rush because it sounds great the way that it is. But that would be a cool feature at some point. Anyway, very thankful to have this guitar. It's so good for sitting down and playing. I can sit with it and teach all day and never feel uncomfortable. It's just an awesome guitar. Thank you, Paul, for making such a great guitar. Let's talk about a newer acquisition for me. This is an Anderson T Icon. Tom Anderson is a fabulous builder out in California, and I've liked his work for a long time. Midwood Guitar Studio got this guitar in, and it was just too amazing to pass up. It is a classic Tele with a 3-way switch, standard knobs. This is distress level 2, which means, they do this checkering and all this stuff. I like it. I think it's cool. I did not order this guitar like this, I would. I think it's great. I think it's cool. It's got some vibe to it. I like the checkering in the finish. I think it's great. But really, the things that are just truly amazing about his guitars, the neck feels incredible. It's this wonderful baked maple and rosewood fingerboard. Now, another thing that I really love, the locking tuners. Super awesome. I've already replaced his pickups. I have a relationship with Tom Brantley, who lives in North Carolina. Wonderful pickup builder, and I really like his Tele set. So I put his hot Tele set in this guitar. If you're interested in Tom's pickups, message me, post a comment below. I actually am not just only a player of his pickups, I actually sell them as well, and I mean, they're super wonderful. I really enjoy his pickups. Again, just classic 3-way. It sounds like a Telecaster, and man, it just rings. It is a great guitar. Very thankful to have this in the guitar stable. Alright, so here we go. This is the guitar that I've had the absolute longest. This is a 2006 Heritage 535, 335 style guitar. Classic 4 knobs, 3-way switch. I keep seeing people playing. I still have the strap attached. Hold on. There we go. I keep seeing all these people play these guitars more recently. And I would just like to say to them, welcome to the club, because Heritage is awesome. Like, these guitars are just so fantastic. This is a forever guitar for me. I just absolutely love it. Now, I replaced the tuners. My guitar tech Tom Henry replaced them with some locking tuners many years ago. This guitar has already had 1 refret because I've played it so much. And also, recently I had it plecked in New Orleans at Strange Guitar Works, which was a great move because, the pleck machine just really gets everything as perfect as possible. So that was about a year ago, in the middle of COVID. But, man, this guitar sings, and it's quirky, I find that a lot of my great guitars, the really good ones, they move around a lot. So for me, this guitar, I have to really watch it. Sometimes I have to change the truss rod regularly. I was watching a clip from Tom Bukovac, and he brings all his tools to the session because he's constantly adjusting the rods and stuff like that. And it made me realize more and more, like, great guitars move around. That's okay. It's okay if they move around a lot. And historically, I've been very bad at any kind of repair work. But look, we should all be able to tweak a truss rod slightly and make the guitar just, sing. If it's slightly under and it's like buzzy and you just can't get any sustain, that's bad. If it's way high and you can't, actually play it, that's bad too. So we need to figure out, like, what is our range and be able to get it in that realm. So anyway, I'm working on that myself, but you can see with this guitar, it's got some love on it. No pick guard. I ordered it that way from Wolf Guitars many years ago, and I just love this thing. Let's talk about this bass. This is the bass that I play all the time. I play it on all my backing tracks. I play it in lessons all the time. This is an exotic jazz bass. Man, it just sounds so good. It's got active electronics, but if you pull out the volume knob, now it's suddenly passive, and it's like a classic jazz bass. Man, this thing sounds awesome. Down the road, it would be so cool to get maybe a 5-string version of this, but, I like 4-string just fine, and I don't find that I need that low note all the time. I have owned like a Fender 5-string before, big old, fat neck, and it was kind of hard to play. Like, I have pretty big hands. At the time, I was not as good of a bass player as I am now, and not that I gig on the bass or anything, but like I play it in sessions and stuff all day, and in lessons and things like that. So I could see, like, taking this neck, having a 5th string, and it would feel very good. So I could see getting another exotic down the road, especially because nowadays they're fairly inexpensive. I highly recommend this bass. Beautiful figured wood, incredible craftsmanship. Exotic does a lot of pedals, but they're now doing a lot of guitars and basses as well, and man, I love this thing. Alright, so I just wanted to take a quick walk through and just show the rest of this, you know. Got these guitars hanging on the wall. Got the main studio area. You can see my lights, my lighting. I got this rig that my camera lives on, which is really awesome for shooting videos and lessons. I got my shotgun microphone right there. I can shoot video summary lessons for my guitar students in just like a very quick second. And as you saw, we got the amplifiers, we got them going into my interface, we've got the pedal board, and I didn't give a look into, there's my UAD Apollo with the 710D. Got some headphones, again, 2-rock, the matchless. Oh yeah. Now, I wanted to show some of the behind the scenes. Again, this studio used to be outside. Before I moved in, this was an outside building. So check it out. Now, I warn you, we're going into the 1970s carpet right here. Oh yeah, here we go. So I got a lot of storage over here. We got tons of speakers, we got guitar books, things like that, accessories. Again, I'm moving, so things are a little crazy. This is my pile of gobos and acoustic treatment. These are all on legs. And I even have a little portable vocal booth in there. And then, of course, you know, we have tons of mic stands, music stands, all that. And this is what used to be my ISO booth closet, which is now, when you're selling a house, you have to shove things anywhere you can fit them. So it's a storage place for guitar cases, amp boxes, and all that kind of stuff. I'll show you one more thing. Back here, I have a bunch of guitar accessories and things like that. This back wall, I shot tons of guitar videos. Things for Lick Library, things for ProgressiveGuitarLessons.com. Shot a bunch of stuff on that wall. And if I showed you behind the curtain, you would see a lot of the vintage amplifiers that my roommate still owns. There are tons in there. Can't really see them right now. I'm not gonna mess with it, but I'll show you guys some pictures. Anyway, that's the studio. Thanks so much for checking it out. Alright, so you might notice that there are just tons of amps in here. And one clarification is that I do not own all these amps. If you've seen my videos over the years, I've played a lot of different stuff. For the most part, I've owned 4 or 5 amps, but my roommate basically has owned like 25, 30 amps. And so, thankfully, I have the luxury of checking out the stuff that he's bought. So, for example, 1965 Princeton. Now, this amp right here is a modded Super Reverb. That actually is mine, but it was gifted to me by a former student. Right here we have a deluxe reverb. That one's a 1965. We call it OD because on the serial number it's O and D. That one has a vintage 30 in it right now. It's pretty nice. That's a Marshall cab. I got a Vibrolux over there. That's a 65 Vibrolux, a 65 Super Reverb. I'm gonna, flash some pics on this video and make sure you can see all the different amps that kind of have come in and out of the house. But man, it's cool. Back here, there's a Ken Jones Dumble style cab. He used to build those for Bludotone. They're really fantastic. They're in that Dumble realm. Right now it has a Swamp Thing in it. And then my 2-rock 2x12 has a Celestion Alnico Cream in it. I really love that speaker. And then, like I mentioned earlier, I have a 68 Drip Edge Princeton right here. We got my 65 Bassman. And then over here there's the Matchless and the 2-rock. Lots of fun stuff. And, honestly, this isn't even the half of it in this house. Now, he's sold a bunch of stuff recently, but it's been so cool. I've had him living here since about 2017. And he's been a great roommate, and also it's been so cool for us to just pass guitars off and amps and just kind of share the fun of amps and guitars. He was my guitar student originally and became a friend and then ended up moving in with me. So anyway, that's that. So again, I just wanted to say, I've talked about a lot of different things in this video and not covered anything much in detail. But if you want to hear any of this gear, you know, I would be happy to make a video for you. I'm trying to really spend some time on my YouTube channel, so again, if this is your first time, make sure you click that like button, you hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell. I'll be sharing more stuff more frequently, but please, like, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to share any of this stuff with you if you want just a little, even a quick demo. I make, you know, videos all the time for my guitar students and working on my YouTube channel a bunch. But yeah, that's it. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Make sure you click that like button, the subscribe button, ding that bell, and yeah, I look forward to making more videos for you. And please, you know, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, make sure to hit that below. If you're interested in learning anything from me, I have a couple different websites. I have danielseriff.com. It has some courses on there if you're interested in, you know, growing as a guitarist. I have some really great courses on there. Also, I just recently launched a new website called videoguitarglossary.com. You should go check that out. There's a lot of free, wonderful information on that website, and it's growing every day. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and take care.